In 1999, an interviewer sat down with an eccentric man named Bielek and asked a straightforward question: who would win the upcoming presidential election? Bielek's response was highly specific and bizarre. He stated that nobody would win, but that instead they were going to give it to George Bush. The interviewer listened as Bielek outlined a series of strange electoral anomalies that would lead to this outcome. At the time, he assumed he was listening to the ramblings of a crazy person and simply filed the strange audio recording away. Bielek attributed his impossible foresight to memories he said he acquired through highly classified top-secret government projects, an entry point into a much darker reality. 1 year later, the United States faced a historic electoral deadlock between the two prominent candidates, George W. Bush and Al Gore. The results hinged on a few hundred votes in Florida. The voting mechanics completely broke down, with officials forced to manually inspect flawed paper ballots to determine voter intent, matching the exact anomalies that Bielek had previously described. The chaos ended when the Supreme Court intervened, halting the recount and effectively handing the presidency to Bush. The exact phrasing of Bielek's 1999 prophecy had materialized in the real world. A recorded prediction of this precision forces a closer look at Bielek's actual background. He claimed this knowledge came from his role as a cornerstone in the U.S. government's top-secret time travel and remote viewing programs. According to Bielek, the government's interest in psychic espionage began around 1940. Franklin Roosevelt's advisor, Harry Bennett, helped initiate a remote viewing program to harness human extrasensory perception. This newly formed group, the Psy Corps, established its administrative headquarters right outside of Trenton, New Jersey. Their initial mission was highly unusual, deploying psychics to locate a group of extraterrestrials that had been working with the government before vanishing without a trace. Bielek claimed his own remote viewing process required no complex protocols. By simply relaxing and clearing his mind of distractions, he could visually project himself to read individual pages inside a locked filing cabinet 10,000 miles away. His proficiency was highly regarded within the intelligence community. Decades later, other military psychic spies stated that Bielek had secretly taught their classified training classes. This mental projection served as a trial run for a far more dangerous operation, the physical traversal of time and space. Bielek stated his physical leap through time began on August 12, 1943. During the Philadelphia experiment, he and his brother jumped off the deck of the USS Eldridge to escape the chaotic effects of the ship's radar invisibility test. Instead of hitting the water, they woke up in a hospital bed in the year 2137. They were suffering from severe radiation burns caused by their unprotected exposure to the harsh environment of hyperspace. They spent several weeks recovering as 22nd century medical practitioners treated the physiological damage. During this time, they experienced a strange juxtaposition, receiving highly advanced care while watching standard television sets installed in their hospital room. Surviving the trip to 2137 proved that the human body could withstand temporal displacement. This set the stage for Bielek's deepest leap into the future. From the hospital, Bielek traveled alone to the year 2749, where he spent 2 years. He observed a radically transformed Earth, where traditional ground-based infrastructure coexisted with massive floating cities, towering 2.5 miles in the air. The structural engineering relied on localized anti-gravity systems. By installing reverse gravity platforms approximately every 300 floors, the builders negated the immense weight from the stories above, allowing them to stack the city endlessly. The socio-economic structure of the 28th century functioned as a complete socialist society. Citizens lived entirely without banks, money, or traditional commerce, with all necessities provided for free. This system was governed by a synthetic intelligence. The central computer for each city was a highly radioactive crystalline structure floating in a room. To be interviewed by it telepathically, Bielek had to wear a completely radiation-proof lead-lined suit. For a time traveler from the 20th century, this hyper-advanced post-scarcity future represented a bewildering endpoint of human evolution. Returning to the present day, claims about floating cities, radioactive AI, and extraterrestrial treaties stretched the limits of credulity. But Bielek grounded his narrative at a specific, real-world location, the massive, rusted radar tower at Camp Hero in Montauk, New York, where he stated these temporal experiments were orchestrated. He explained that his recollections were highly fragmented, a phenomenon he called a Swiss cheese memory. The trauma of time travel, combined with repeated government mind wipes, left him with gaps and inconsistencies in his own history. These fragmented, fantastical memories stand in sharp contrast to the surgical precision of his year 2000 election prediction. The sheer accuracy of his most verifiable claim poses a difficult dilemma. If he could describe the exact mechanics of a future presidential election, it forces us to question if his most unbelievable memories contain elements of truth. Al Bielek leaves us with three possible identities: a genuine temporal anomaly, a highly trained government psychic prodigy, or simply an incredibly lucky guesser.
This story sits squarely at the intersection of extreme conspiracy lore and verifiable historical reality. It leaves us asking, how much of our future is already written, and who currently possesses the technology to see it?